Now at 10, a bicyclist is dead after an accident with a Newton County Sheriff's deputy's vehicle. Plus, how some of the area's homeless population are staying cool during this intense heat. And we'll visit the Vernon County Fairgrounds to check out the Open Youth Rodeo event.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin police say the cyclist hit by a Newton County Sheriff's deputy's patrol vehicle has died. This is KOAM News at 10. That accident happened around 2 a.m. last Thursday near East 32nd and South Finley Streets in Joplin. Authorities say the deputy's SUV collided with a motorized bicycle, sending its rider, 44-year-old Ryan Hunnell of Joplin, to the hospital. Police today announced Hunnell died of his injuries on Sunday. JPD's major crash team is investigating. A former Ottawa County, Oklahoma prosecutor pleads guilty to offering favorable treatment in exchange for in court proceedings in exchange for sexual favors. Authorities say 44-year-old Daniel Giraldi of Joplin also provided drugs to the defendant he made that agreement with. Pleaded guilty to 1 count of possession of oxycodone with intent to distribute and 4 counts of honest services fraud. As part of the plea agreement, Giraldi will forfeit his Oklahoma bar license. He's going to be sentenced at a later date. Firefighters were called to a Joplin manufacturing plant this afternoon. They found flames at the Owens Corning complex on State Line Road. We have no reports of injuries. The fire was reported around 1:45 this afternoon. Some firefighters cut a hole in the roof, apparently to get access to the fire. Others worked inside the building. The plant makes insulation. A Joplin woman accused of killing a Joplin couple in a crash learns her sentence for an earlier crime. Rita Glasgow was originally charged with drug possession in 2017. In February of 2020, she was charged with drug trafficking. Then, authorities say in January of last year, Glasgow was intoxicated when she drove a stolen pickup into an SUV. Terry and Rhonda Koppel of Joplin both died from injuries in that crash. In February of this year, Glasgow began serving a 7-year prison sentence for the 2017 case after she failed to complete a court-ordered program. Now a judge has sentenced her to serve 4 years to be served concurrently for the 2020 case. She's already pled guilty in the fatal crash, and she's to be sentenced in that case on July 25th. In the wake of the recent Supreme Court rulings on abortions, it appears more men are asking about vasectomies and learning where they are and are not available. 32-year-old Chris Hogan of Nevada, Missouri, says he went to a doctor at Joplin's Mercy Hospital seeking to have a vasectomy, but was denied care because it conflicted with the doctor's Catholic beliefs. Hogan wanted the procedure done because his partner could have complications with giving birth.
She has health issues that would make it hard for her to become pregnant, but if she did become pregnant, would most likely, end in miscarriage or complications. And so with all the new laws going into effect, we discussed it, and it was just going to be simpler for me to get the vasectomy and just avoid all that altogether.
Men in other areas have run into similar situations. A clinic in Florida has seen vasectomy appointments double for childless men under age 30 since the court ruling. The planned closure of the railroad overpass on Rangeline Road in Joplin has been delayed due to construction scheduling issues. It had been scheduled to close this coming Monday to allow contractor crews to demolish the bridge and begin work on a new one. Authorities have not yet announced a new closure date. Let's check in with Nick Kelly for our first look at the weather.
We kept things quiet for today, Dal, but the same dry air that gave a lot of us a mild start and almost a chilly start, that resulted in a quick warm-up throughout the course of the day. For example, Joplin Regional started at 62, then we catapulted into the mid-90s, 95 at the airport before the afternoon was all said and done. That was because of dry air, light breeze, and plenty of clear skies, which we're still seeing as we continue to dig deep into this Wednesday night. We're keeping quiet because of high pressure working over northern Missouri, but it's getting ready to hop over to Mississippi, and as it does, a more southeasterly and southerly breeze will kick in for tomorrow, and that will just open the door for more summer heat to start working back in. Right now, though, we're getting a break from the heat for tonight. We're seeing some more 70s popping up on the board, but some spots along and south the 44 trying to hold on near 80. As far as your day planner goes, we will drop back into the upper 60s for another mild start for your Thursday, but the same dry air still relatively in place. With that southeast breeze down, we'll push into the upper 90s for highs tomorrow. We'll see if we go any hotter in the days to come here in a few.
Catch you then. This extreme heat is hard on everyone, of course, but especially the homeless community who's outside for much of the day. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
The summer in the 4 states area has been difficult. The homeless community has to find ways to stay cool during these heat advisories.
So the most common question around this time, not just this summer, but any summer is, hey, are you guys a cooling station? Because we do have that provided throughout different spots in Joplin.
Souls Harbor understands how damaging extreme heat can be. The homeless community doesn't always have access to places to avoid the heat.
Having a heat stroke and you happen to be coming by Souls Harbor, we are going to call 911 for you. We're going to bring you inside. We're going to get you cooled off as much as we possibly can.
Souls Harbor partnered with local organizations to run cooling stations throughout Joplin. However, on extreme hot days, the homeless community needs more.
You don't really ever get cooled down, but I don't know, probably about 15-20 minutes and so.
Even though the homeless community has resources like Souls Harbor, Tim wants the entire community to be aware of the struggle to stay cool.
But then sometimes not so much and stuff like that, and they probably just don't realize, or a lot that's going on, but they never really ask,
In Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Souls Harbor is accepting donations to help the homeless deal with the heat. Some area athletes hit the bowling lanes today for a competition. The Kansas Special Olympics hosted a regional bowling competition at Pittsburgh's Holiday Lanes. Dozens of athletes came out to throw strikes and meet other athletes. The director of grants and development for Special Olympics Kansas says events like these are important for athletes all around the community.
I get out so much joy and so much inclusion within the community. We have the whole community coming out, celebrating these athletes, participating, volunteering, doing all kinds of things to really show our athletes that they're loved and they're part of our community.
The bowling competition will continue at Holiday Lanes tomorrow. Coming up, Mercy Hospital will soon offer a new way to test for cancer. We'll have details. Plus,
the families whose lives were shattered by gun violence in Uvalde and in Highland Park came to the nation's capital today to plead with U.S. lawmakers. I'm Deborah Alferone at the White House, just one of their stops as they ask for stricter gun control.
Mercy and the Grail Company today announced plans to offer a multi-cancer early detection blood test. Grail's Gawler test uses advanced testing capabilities to detect early cancer signals of more than 50 types of cancer. Mercy says this test is the first of its kind.
It's a test that has shown exceedingly high promise in being able to do something different than what's already on the market, that has not been through the full FDA approval process. That's why at this time you're not going to see anybody recommend this as part of a routine regular preventive maintenance schedule.
An official says recommended cancer screenings in the U.S. currently cover only 5 types of cancer: breast, cervical, colon, lung, and prostate, and can screen just one at a time. Gun control advocates and families impacted by recent tragedies rallied on Capitol Hill today, calling for stricter gun control laws as well as a ban on assault weapons. Deborah Alferone has details from Washington.
The agony and anger of losing loved ones in recent mass shootings nationwide took center stage on Capitol Hill.
Our communities are paying the high price. We're paying the price of our sanity. We're paying the price of our peace.
Just last week, a mass shooter killed 7 people at a July 4th parade in the Chicago suburb of Highland Park.
Highland Park has experienced something that no community should ever experience.
Mary Jo Tinkoff, her husband, and 2 young boys ran for their lives that day as the 21-year-old suspect opened fire using a high-powered military-style assault weapon.
I look over at my husband, I glance at him, and he just screams, "Run."
Get in your room!
Newly released surveillance video shows police in action as the gunmen in Uvalde, Texas, massacred young students and teachers using an AR-15 style rifle. With President Biden overseas, several of the families impacted by the gun violence in Uvalde and in Highland Park came to the White House to talk to deputy-level staffers about what can be done to prevent future tragedies.
We want a federal ban on assault weapons now.
U.S. lawmakers passed a new gun control bill last month requiring enhanced background checks, among other things, for anyone under 21 buying firearms. But President Biden is pushing for Congress to go further, calling for the return of the assault weapons ban of 1994 that he helped pass when he was a senator.
In that 10 years it was law, mass shootings went down.
The Democratic-led House is expected to pass a new bill, which would create a communications network to inform communities when active shooters are in their area. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
There have been 333 mass shootings so far this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. A little bit later, we're going to check out the Open Youth Rodeo at the Vernon County Fairgrounds.
But first, we'll get a fresh look at the forecast and see if we can break the heat anytime soon. And we have some rain chances to track too when we come back. Well, with all this dry air in place, we couldn't get any rain today to give us a break from the mid-90s that we saw take place this afternoon. On the other hand, though, it really helped us out with the lows this morning. In fact, for some spots, you could argue it was a bit chilly to start this Wednesday morning out. Certainly for our northern areas where a lot of us started out around 62 degrees. Everybody else between 63 and 65. These are nice numbers to have anytime we can get them on a July morning around here. But unfortunately, the numbers will be trending back upward like they did today, certainly as we go through the next several days. Plus, I want to keep an eye on the drought tracker because even though it's showing areas, our southeastern half of the viewing area with abnormally dry conditions, this will get a fresh update tomorrow. So I want to see if Tuesday's rain that came on through will at least prevent any more dry conditions from overtaking more of the area. Plus, we'll also see if this can be chewed away with possible rain chances by this weekend. So we got quite a bit to watch despite not a lot happening today. And outside right now from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri. Same story from 7th and Rangeline. Quiet skies, but with the dry air still in place with that humidity at 41%. We're thankfully dropping off nicely. 81 in Joplin and no feels like temperature because the humidity's been so low. Another rarity to get on any July day around here. We already have some lower 70s around Iola and Fort Scott, but a lot of us are still in the mid 70s to lower 80s right now. And yeah, these numbers are warmer on the order of, let's say 2 to 7 degrees compared to where we were at this time last night. But still, with the dry air in place, we are going to drop back into the upper 60s before we heat up again going into tomorrow. Otherwise, we don't have a lot happening here. We got a few potent storms around Colby, Kansas that are sinking to the south and they'll eventually fall apart. We're keeping quiet because of high pressure at the surface, working into east central parts of Missouri. Here's our next cold front in the upper Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. That's going to try to come at us with those weekend rain chances, along with some upper level waves that'll ride around the ridge out west and come on in with the northwest flow of the jet. In the meantime, though, the upper level ridge has been trying to build back in, and you'll definitely note that with the temperatures or the trend of them as we go into tomorrow. Before we see the heat kick back in, we'll drop back into the upper 60s. A lot of us quiet under pretty much clear skies. Mostly sunny skies for tomorrow, but already back in the mid 90s for most by the noon hour. And then pushing back, I'm thinking at least into the upper 90s. I think a lot of us will avoid 100, but we're splitting hairs at this stage in the game though. 68 in the morning, 93 by noon. Let's say 99, maybe a little bump of the humidity can make it feel like we're just over 100. Still just something to keep in mind if you're going to be out and about tomorrow. Friday, here comes some partly sunny skies, keeping highs in the upper 90s, but I wouldn't be surprised with this first wave coming in, maybe a random shower or storm, but you can see how the rain chances want to flare up as we go into Saturday, especially in the morning, and Sunday. That's our best shot for scattered rain chances, so at least there will be dry time this weekend, but fingers crossed we can cash in on these rain chances because I'll tell you what, when this storm system moves on, the rain will taper off for the most part, but it won't scrub out the heat, unfortunately. We'll go upper 90s tomorrow through Saturday, down 93 on Sunday, back to 96 on Monday, and near 100 Tuesday and Wednesday.
Oh, boy. Crossing over that century line really technically, I guess, doesn't make much difference, but boy, it sure psychologically feels different.
Yeah, 99 or 100, you're splitting hairs. It's just hot nonetheless.
Yes, that's true. Thanks, Nick. Hey, the Vernon County Youth Fair is up and running. Today's events included a rodeo, mutton busting, and barrel racing. This is the 77th year of the Youth Fair. Children under age 6 get into the fair free of charge. Proceeds from the event support the Youth Fair. It runs through Saturday. Let them go. There you go. Hold on. Whoa. Yeah, it looks like fun, kind of. Folks in the four-state area also gathered to show off their livestock, just not in the form of a rodeo. The annual Jasper County Fair kicked off today and displayed a variety of animals, including cows and goats. The event also features a cornhole tournament, live music, vendors. The last event of the fair will be market sale on Friday, where people can bid on the competitors' animals to help them raise some money. Still ahead, the Joplin Outlaws wrap up their home series against Chillicothe. And Webb City Little League softball earns a spot at the state tournament in Columbia. We're going to hear from the district champion in sports.
The Joplin Outlaws swept a doubleheader from the Chillicothe Mudcats last night. With those 2 wins, the Outlaws are now 16-18 overall, just 1 game back of first place in the Mink League South Division. And Joplin tries to stay rolling and stay within a game of first, wrapping up their series with the Mudcats tonight. That one is final. Outlaws win at 5-1. Fort Scott product and future Pittsburgh State Gorilla Matt Campbell goes 2 for 3 for the Outlaws with a double, a home run, and a pair of RBIs. The Kansas City Royals have actually been pretty good the last week. They won 3 of their last 4 and 5 of their last 8 games. Now today, they finish up their series with Detroit, aiming to take 3 out of 4 from the Tigers. Emmanuel Rivera with a liner there scores Andrew Benintendi. Game tied at 1. Then Edward Oliveras on the ground. A little trouble at second. Hunter Dozier and Rivera both score on that. It is 3-1 Kansas City. More miscues for the Tigers in the 5th. Dozier, fly ball out to center. Riley Green tries to come down with it, but doesn't get it, runs into the wall. Bobby Witt Jr. scores on that. Take a look at this again. Hard collision out there. Royals would go on to win at 5-2 for their 2nd straight series win. On the National League, the St. Louis Cardinals hit the field for Game 2 of their series with the Dodgers. The Cards won Game 1 last night 7-6. Tonight's game still going. Cards lead 6-5 in the 9th. Nolan Arenado is 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer for St. Louis. Webb City Little League Softball has 3 teams that will play in state tournaments this week. The 10 and under group will head to DeSoto, and the 14 and under team goes to Marshall, Missouri. As for the 12 and under group here, they're headed to Columbia for the state tournament tomorrow. The Webb City 12s won a district championship last week, outscoring their opponents 47-7 in 2 games. Now here's the team on going to state and hopefully continuing to roll on to regionals and maybe more.
It would mean a lot because that's always been my goal and my dream and stuff to make it to the World Series.
Our goal is to go to state and be competitive. I think we have a good shot at that, and if we get to go on, that'd be even better. This team started about a month ago, so there's not a lot of time. So to have an extra week or 2, it means a lot. These girls have really come together and built relationships, so I'm glad it gets to continue.
Former Oklahoma Sooners standout Baker Mayfield held his first press conference on Tuesday since joining the Carolina Panthers. Mayfield was traded from Cleveland to Carolina last week. Mayfield was the #1 overall pick out of Oklahoma back in 2018. He spent the first 4 years of his pro career in Cleveland, throwing for 14,000 yards and 92 touchdowns. Also led the Browns to their first playoff win in 26 years. Now here he is on his time with Cleveland and starting a new journey in Carolina.
It's just an exciting time for myself and my family and just this new chapter. No animosity towards Cleveland. It's a good football town that, gave me the first 4 years of my career, and thankful for those trials and tribulations, all the challenges, a lot to learn from and look back on and reflect, but just really focused on right now and being a Carolina Panther and, pumped up to do so.
Well, Chanutes Drayton Cleaver is competing at the NHSGA National Invitational this week in Pinehurst, North Carolina. Now, that tournament features the top high school golfers from across the country who have won their respective state championships as a team or individual. Now, here's how he did. Today was the final round of the 54-hole tournament. Cleaver went out and shot a 1/73 today. That moved him up 20 spots in the standings. He finishes tied for 34th in a field of more than 330 competitors. Now, we talked to him after he wrapped things up today. You can check out our full story with Cleaver on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's it for sports. We're back after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Alfred Knaust served in the U.S. Army from 1944 to 1946. His hometown, Webb City, Missouri. And we're proud to salute Tech Sergeant Alfred Knaust, a four-state hero. For some, learning history might be a little bit boring, but hey, not here. The Crawford County Historical Museum wants to make it wacky. The museum today hosted their last Wacky Wednesday of the summer. The theme for today was County Fair. There were snow cones and yard games and puppies to pet and painting.
There's a lot of interactive displays here today. The kids can do some fun things outdoors. We've got a perfect day for it, and we're glad to share some of Crawford County history with this great group of kids here today.
To learn more about upcoming events at the Crawford County Historical Museum, just visit our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/events. Yeah, the weather is pretty nice for that today. It's going to be getting hotter in the days ahead.
Yeah, but not before we thankfully go into mild territory again tomorrow morning with lows around 68, but back into the upper 90s Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Fingers crossed we can cash in on these forecasted rain chances certainly by Saturday and Sunday.
Final sports note.
The Royals finish up the first half of the season against the Toronto Blue Jays. They have 10 players that can't, play because they're unvaccinated going into Canada, including Andrew Benintendi, Whit Merrifield, and Hunter Dozier. Some really big-time players.
Yeah, could make a difference. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with more from the Open Youth Rodeo at the Vernon County Fairgrounds. Let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is provided by the